Good morning. Welcome to another Stretch with Dave. Your host, Dave. I have that window blocked out, so hopefully that doesn't create as much interference with the light washing of my body. So today we are doing modified PNF stretching. Normally for PNF stretching, you would have somebody to assist you. All I have is this fat cat, and he's not going to do much for me. So what PNF stretching is it's proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, which essentially means we're going to do a stretch, and then we are going to hold a contraction or do an exercise so that we can sustain a contraction. And the idea is that we can get a bit of a deeper stretch after we do that contraction. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our seated pigeon, and we're going to take our left leg, we're going to cross it over our right, slightly and forward. We're going to hold this for 5 breath cycles, so a deep breath in, deep breath out. Switch to the other side. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a body weight squat hold. So all we're going to do is we're going to hinge our hips back, chest stays lifted, and then we're just going to hold this for around 10 seconds. So you probably didn't think you were doing a bit of strength training today, but we are getting that in today. Okay, and then we're going to go back to our stretch, do another 5 breath cycles, and we're going to get a little bit more range of motion there. Might not be much, but it does improve a little bit, I promise. And just by allowing ourselves a little bit deeper of a stretch, we increase our range of motion over time. Okay, and we'll switch sides. This video probably won't be as long as our other ones, but I wanted to give you an idea of a way that you can mix up your mobility training, mix up your stretching. If you feel like you've plateaued a little bit or you've been doing the same things for forever, it's a good way to switch it up. Okay, so we are going to go to our door frame stretch now. Using the door frame, my arm is just below shoulder height. I'm going to go palm up, twist through the top, keep that arm straight, feel that stretch in the chest and in the shoulders. Yeah, 5 breath cycles for this, roughly 20 seconds. And we can actually do this one single arm and then do the hold single arm as well, because all you need is to resist. I'm getting a little cut off here. So I go into this sort of inclined push-up with single arm. You can do it from a wall too, right? You can just push on a wall and you're still getting a contraction in your chest. You can feel that muscle contracting. You can feel it on your shoulders. So we just hold that for 10. And we go back into the door frame stretch, same side. And you can see how you can get a little bit more range of motion. You can turn a little bit further. PNF stretching is one of the best ways to increase your range of motion, increase your mobility. Heavily researched through a lot of sports journals. And we'll switch sides. We're going to go to the right side now. It's probably one of my favorite ways to increase my mobility is to do these do this PNF type stretching. And you can do this, like you can do an even more modified version through your strength training, right? In between your sets, you could be doing static stretches, and that's sort of been seen as taboo for a little bit. But again, it's been researched as well. So we're going to go into that wall push again, and I'll try to do this at an angle here. All I'm doing is I'm just pressing on the wall. My arm is slightly bent, and I'm just trying to get that contraction in my chest and in my shoulders. We just hold that for 10, try to get that contraction. And then we'll switch sides. And again, I'd say doing it between sets and strength training is a modified version of PNF stretching. It's not really a true version, but you still will get an increased range of motion on each subsequent stretch sets. And I can certainly feel it on this side. My right side is a little tighter than my left. I can certainly feel getting a deeper stretch. And it's comfortable too, right? I'm still reaching that 6 out of 10. It's not like I'm just increasing that intensity. I'm increasing the range at the same intensity. Okay, so that is our door frame stretch push-up. We're into our half heel hip flexor. I have a chair for my step. You can do, I'll show you a couple different ways you can do this. So we'll start with our half heel hip flexor stretch. I have my pillow in case that's what I need to kneel on. I'm going to go right leg or right knee down, left leg forward, and I'm going to push those hips forward, right arm in line with my ear. Good. So there's a couple different ways. So I just stretched my right hip. So I can do a step up, like so, and I can move through this, where I'm just actively keeping my right leg engaged. Or I could do just a hold here. It's not as much of the hip flexor. So what you could add is more of a like reverse lunge, and you could hold like more here. Personally, I would either go for the step up or sort of this reverse lunge hold. I would say the lunge hold is a little bit more PNF than doing the step ups. But I can understand that lunge hold can be a little difficult for some people. And then we just go into that hip flexor stretch again, see if we can get a little bit more range of motion, a little bit more upright. You know, you can even get that slightly forward and up right there. And that's where I'm doing my 6 out of 10 right now. Again, I've increased my range of motion just a little bit. Now, if you had your goniometer to measure those angles out, you know, everybody has that goniometer at home, you would see you increase a few degrees in terms of that hip angle. Okay, we'll switch sides. Go left knee on the mat there. Right leg forward, push my hips forward, left arm in line with the left ear. We just do those 5 deep breaths in, 5 deep breaths out. Awesome. I'm just going to go with that lunge hold again. I felt like that worked very well. So again, I was stretching my left side, so I want my left hip to be active here. I take an exaggerated step back with that right foot and just go into that hold here. So I guess it's more of a split squat hold than a lunge hold. If you want to be technical with it, you can probably feel that quad firing up too, and the quad gets stretched for sure, and that half heel hip flexor stretch as well. Okay, and then held a little bit longer there. We'll go back to our mat. Pillow. Right leg forward. Again, you might be able to take a bit of a further step forward now. Push those hips forward. Feet back, nice and tall. Chest is open. Arm is in line with your ear. Okay, and then we'll finish off with our chair hamstring and our glute bridge hold. So we're going to go left leg on the chair. So pointed towards the shin, slightly forward. And we're just going to do the one way today. And you might notice, like, you know, a lot of the stretches are, we have done a lot of these stretches before. We're just sort of changing how we're going about them in order to change our stretching routine a little bit more, so that we're not plateauing, we're not sticking at the same range of motions. We're allowing ourselves to progressively overload and get a bit deeper. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to try to do a glute bridge or a single leg glute bridge. So again, I was stretching my left hamstring there. So I'm going to hold this glute bridge with my right leg extended. If you can't hold that, you can go ahead and do both at the same time. And we just hold this for 10 seconds. Okay, and then we're back up. A little bit more work is being done today for sure. But that's not a bad thing. And then you might be able to lean forward a little bit more than usual. Again, it doesn't need to be this crazy, oh, I just, you know, got an extra 4 or 5 inches in my stretch range of motion, where this angle is a lot smaller now. It could be literally, you know, a 1/10 of an inch, a 1/4 of an inch, just a few degrees forward, but it does make all the difference in the world. So now we'll switch sides to the right side. Toe pointed towards the shin, slightly forward. And I can feel it just in my left side and my right side. I don't have any imbalance in terms of my hamstring flexibility. My left side is mostly the same as my right side, but I could feel I tried to lean forward a little bit more there. And it was certainly more than a 6 out of 10. So we'll go into our glute bridge hold. Again, if it's too hard to do single leg, you can just do this. I'm going to go single leg because it's going to force more of a contraction in my hamstring. You know, you also feel it in your glutes for sure, a little bit more so, but this is also a way we can get a contraction in our hamstring. If you want to get more of a contraction, it's a little harder, but step that foot a little further out, and you can hear the change in my voice there. All right, and last stretch is just doing our right side there. Go pointing towards the shin, slightly forward, and like immediately I can feel the difference in my range of motion there. You know, I'm leaning a lot more forward. Toe can easily stay pointed towards the shin. Good stretch, my hamstring. Good 6 out of 10 stretch. And that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned something, because that's certainly a little bit different than what we've done in the past. It's a little bit more of an advanced stretching technique. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave a comment or send me an email. I'd be happy to address those. But I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.